It's been a long time, but you know what they say, tomorrow's another day. Hey guys, MasakoX here, and if you haven't clicked off the video out of disgust for that pretty cheesy pun, then I thank you, and I reiterate what Haverock and I were saying. We are actually now on this channel covering the manga, as well as the anime, after I was being so insistent that we just cover the anime. But looking back on that thought process, I'm really regretting not doing this sooner, because when you actually sit down, use the Shonen Jump online service, really good by the way at just $2 a month, not Spawn by the way, to read up on Super whenever you want, you get to take time to see what happens instead of just watching bleary-eyed at 3 AM on a Sunday morning whenever a new Super episode came out, which is what I was doing when the anime was coming out weekly, and probably what I will go back to do when it returns, or if it ever returns. I do this for you guys, you know. So yes, finally, we can talk to you about this particular tale that took place not long after the Tournament to Power and the Dragonball Super Broly movie. This is the fabled tale of the Spaceman versus the Goatman, and also plenty of spoilers. And if you haven't read the manga past the Tournament to Power and want to take your time with this, then you may be spoiled. But if you want to catch up quickly about what people have been going on about this Moro guy, then we shall proceed. Get ready. The Moro saga, correctly known as the Galactic Prisoner saga, if you want to be technical about it, but we know who the star of it is really, starts out literally before the Tournament to Power saga in the manga really ends, even though it canonically takes place after Broly for some reason. It's a bit mixed up, but no matter. And it's here that you can feel that Toyotaro is really trying to shoo us away from the train wreck that was the manga's adaptation of the Tournament to Power saga. If you've been reading it, it was awful in my opinion. Pushing us towards new adventures that gives him more creative freedom. Why? There isn't an anime version to compare it to. It's a clever move. And whatever comes from the anime now will have to go up against the manga just like it did back in the day, instead of the other way around as of recently. Less pressure on his shoulders. It starts with our two main Saiyans training in the gravity chamber, with Goku going on and on about how he forgot to use Ultra Instinct and how he can't get back to it anymore. It's basically that last scene in the Super anime, but instead of the two of them fighting where they first fought, making it really iconic and stuff, they're just in the gravity chamber. Less significance visually, but oh well. Goku is actually mad at himself about forgetting something. He's not usually hard on himself, so this is weird. Might be a shade of character development here that we got going on. We then learn from Bulma that Mr. Satan called. Basically, a mysterious gang is trying to take Buu away from him, and Vegeta and Goku naturally go to the rescue. Only to be able to not hit any of the invaders, and then they are literally stunned by the leader, Merus. It turns out that those kidnappers weren't really bad guys, but agents of the Galactic Patrol. Finally, we see more of these guys instead of just seeing Jarko. Also, an important thing to note here is that neither Goku or Vegeta were able to land a single hit on the mysterious Galactic Patrol agent. I wonder what his deal is. But all the jokes aside, it turns out that they need Buu in order to ask for the assistance of the Grand Supreme Kai, who they believe is still trapped inside of Buu after all these years. I mean, when you actually look at the proceedings here, there's no surprise that they would rather take a half-digested Grand Supreme Kai, an ancient one at that, instead of asking Shin for advice. I mean, we certainly would. They need this ancient power to fight against a dangerous criminal who broke out of his prison after millions of years. It turns out that this evildoer is Moro, an evil goatman capable of feasting upon planets that the Grand Supreme Kai defeated by sealing all of his magic away, using up almost all of his Kai powers in the process. And maybe this explains why he was not that effective against Majin Buu just a few million years later. That did then allow the Galactic Patrol to lock him up for 10 million years, Moro, which is still much longer than Belmod was a GOD for Universe 11. And seriously, by comparison, Belmod's taking early retirement in comparison on the galactic scale. And of course, Moro was still very strong after this, and although he was sentenced to ruination, no one was strong enough to actually off him. So the current plan is that they need to extract the Grand Supreme Kai from Good Buu in order to get his help once more. It worked last time, so surely it would work again. Naturally, because this is a Dragon Ball story, Goku and Jeets offer to help apprehend the evildoer, which causes them to become temporary agents of the Galactic Patrol. The two then join the Galactic Patrol on a mission to capture the notorious Macaroni siblings. The gangsters are of course no match for our heroes, but during the whole situation, they get intel about Moro's whereabouts. Sounds easy enough, right? I mean, it's one of the most interesting things of this entire arc so far. What happens next is one of the most interesting things of the entire arc so far, and quite possibly in recent Dragon Ball history. It's the fact that Goku, once he finds Moro's signature, is pretty scared of what he finds in regards to first impressions. This action alone is all about raising the stakes. If you get Goku scared, this one act, it's done more than recent arcs in their entirety have done in for the stakes. This is strange though, because Moro is not in the same league as some of his opponents when it comes to brute strength. You know, they fought stronger people in terms of overall ki output. It's all about how this ki feels though. You know, not the size but how you use it kind of dealy. His ability to absorb the life force out of planets makes him even more powerful. And guess what? He's only gonna head towards bloomin' new Namek to feast on. First the big Getty star, and now this. Oof. I feel bad for them. One of the Macaroni siblings, named Pasta, says that he heard that a fellow prisoner that previously worked for Frieza was now in the search for the Dragon Balls himself, and he might have joined forces with Moro. That's right, people. This brings back a triumphant return of Cranberry. You remember Cranberry, right? Well, it turns out he got lucky and was resurrected years ago after all that was slain by Frieza and his men were revived. Remember that wish? Okay, so where's Nappa then? I mean, if Cranberry gets to live, then surely Nappa does. Goku and Vegeta decide to use instant transmission to try and warn Muri and the Namekians of the incoming goat. Sadly, he lands on the planet too soon and attempts to kidnap Eska, but is stopped by Vegeta, who is determined to make up for all of the evil that he caused to the Namekians in the past. I mean, hey, better late than never, Jeets, I suppose. And he's very specific and asks constantly if he's actually doing a good job. Am I doing it right? Am I? Forgive me! Moro is able to feed both on the planet's life energy and their own, leaving them drained and exhausted, without them even knowing it, which acts as a surprising twist. Usually, it's announced by the villain that they do so, and they can counter this anytime, but not this occasion. Sometimes battles aren't played by the rules, guys, and somebody was watching Android 17, weren't they, when it comes to intervening. Moro, now looking more youthful, tosses them away like empty heat-up cans, and goes on to search for Namekian Dragon Balls. Goku and Vegeta have lost, after the fact that the arc's barely started. Meanwhile, we have a very clear signal that Whis and Beerus will not be interfering in this saga, as Namek doesn't have any interesting foods available. Hey, this is actually kinda neat. This is what we were hoping for after all. Thank you, Beerus' stomach. Meanwhile, Bulma learns that the Galactic Patrol are responsible for the disappearance of her friend and husband and tries to attempt to reach Jarko. Meanwhile, Merus is then informed that Good Boo has awoken. The Namekians, on the other hand, though, are trying to fend off the invader with some of their mightiest warriors fusing into a Namekian savior. Okay, oof. That doesn't go well, it ends badly. So much for that whole thing with Salnal and Pirina and multiple Namekians confused. I guess subverting expectations? The Goatman is getting better and better at finding the Dragon Balls, missing only one pretty soon into the arc. But he then gets apprehended by Merus, who attempts to trap him inside some weird substance, but obviously not for long, you know, it can't be that easy. But the one to come to the rescue is not Merus, but Good Boo, who manages to channel his inner Grand Supreme Kai. What follows now is something that easily redeems the existence of Good Boo in the eyes of Haverock at least. That the Kai was in there the whole time, waiting to come back to the fore should the need arise. Instantly, this gives Boo more purpose. He is actually now a conduit for Shin, and possibly a means of guidance. He needs it. Badly. And while Cranberry manages to summon Porunga, Boo and Moro are fighting, with the latter being unable to actually drain his powers because, you know, Boo's a weird blob creature. But the pink blob's triumph doesn't last for too long, as Cranberry, telepathically blackmailed by Moro of course, is able to restore his full magical powers completely. And that allows him to flee Boo and stop Cranberry from asking a second wish. Oh, surprise, surprise. So Moro, what does he do with this? He asks for something mysterious. And meanwhile, Boo uses his powers to heal whoever he can, but the planet's getting pretty shaky. The Grand Supreme Kai Boo guy and Moro then fight in space, while the survivors start to evacuate from the unhappy planet New Namek. Sadly, he is unable to seal the Goatman's magical powers due to a large portion of his power not being available. It's not where it's supposed to be. Why is that? Well, there is a reason, which I think is very fascinating. And you see, when the Boos separated and the evil Boo became ultimately Kid Boo, all of the divine power was in him, and not Good Boo. The Grand Supreme Kai's powers are not there anymore. I mean, he knows how to fight, but the majority of his energy was blown up by Goku years ago. Oops. Vegeta theorizes that they could technically beat Moro through sheer brute force. So are you saying what I think you're saying, Jeets? Hitting him really hard? But it's now where we find out about Moro's mysterious wish, and that was to free all the galactic patrol prisoners. I mean, not the worst wish, sure, but making it such a mystery for such a weird payoff, that was very unusual pacing there. I mean, I guess it's to elongate the arc and to provide some more bedlam throughout the universe, sure. You know, allowing Moro to go about his business while several fires are going off throughout the universe, but it doesn't really merit all of the intrigue. Some of the convicts come to Moro's aid, but are easily overpowered by heroes. You know, they're still pretty strong. Sadly though, it's still not enough to beat Moro, who manages to drain New Namek dry, restoring him fully to his youth. Goku teleports to Galactic Patrol HQ while Vegeta decides to catch up with the Galactic Patrol member Iriko and orders him to go to Yardrat. Vegeta hopes that maybe, in this time, he can learn something useful there. Moro, meanwhile, continues his happy feast across the galaxy and goes for Planet Zune, you know, the place where Pui Pui came from. Neat, but as you might be able to guess, they stand no chance. Much like Pui Pui. Meanwhile, after seeing how powerful Moro has become, Goku and Merus decide to train with each other once again, and all of this with Goku once again failing to land a hit on him. The Macarena, or Macareni gang, are now heading towards Earth, hoping to find a rare and valuable mineral there. I mean, it's not that special, it's basically gold, which is called aurum, or blue aurum in space. And AU, you know, aurum, that's the shortened term for gold on the periodic table if anyone out there remembers your chemistry. Vegeta meanwhile lands on Yardrat when he learns that both designs of the Yardratians are now official. So yeah, the Dragonball online weird Yardratian short guys are now legit. He is then taken to the Elder Pibara, who explains that all of their abilities are based on the art of spirit control, or ki control, which is the basics for instant transmission, multiform, and gigantification. The Macareni gang naturally tried to land a little scavenge party on Earth, but Piccolo, yeah, he defeats them easily. He even uses his stretchy arms. Bulma informs Dende that Jaco is on the way to Earth to recruit Piccolo to the Galactic Patrol because, you know, he's a strong guy. But Dende asks Bulma to gather Gohan, Krillin, and Tenshinhan. Goku and Merus are training on a remote planet, and it turns out that Merus just so happens to have a remote hyperbolic time chamber available at all times, where he can show his true power. He also seems to be pretty aware of what Ultra Instinct is, and inside he uses a staff to fight with. This is going to be analysed further in another video, I could tell you. Jaco then reaches Earth, whilst Moro sends reinforcements to the same world, being curious about the Macaroonies and what's been going on and why they were defeated. He sends Shimureka, Yumba, and 7-3, who literally looks like Hit in a Halloween costume. Or, as I would like to say, and I did in my review, like Hit had a fling with Rachni from Monster Musume. 7-3 is able to steal abilities from other beings, and they attack the planet of space hedgehogs, just because they can, in a very convenient manner, and they also happen to have the ability to open portals. 7-3 is able to steal the special beam cannon and stretchy arms from the Namekian, and he is about to finish him off. But he gets saved by Gohan of all people. I guess the conference he was at was pretty boring, wasn't it? Piccolo then exclaims that Gohan is now the only strong fighter left on Earth and the last defender. Meanwhile, Merus theorizes that he needs to put Goku in a life-threatening situation in order to bring back Ultra Instinct to the fore. While Vegeta then gets reminded that it took 150 days for Goku to grasp the art of spirit control, which causes the prince a lot of annoyance. So, what do we think of the story so far now that it's 10 chapters old, and now that you're clued up? Yes, Toyotaro is still reusing a lot of poses from previous chapters and previous editions of the manga, and yes, some of the decisions on the whole story-wise are a bit weird, like the whole pacing around Moro's second wish, but this saga feels like the best thing that has come out of Toyotaro's manga, period. It's no longer the Vegeta and Goku show. It's giving characters like Buu, Piccolo, and Gohan their time to shine. Despite Toyotaro still downing on Krillin a whole lot, there's tons of world-building lore going on here. There's loads of little hooks and references, which is a treat to see since now we actually feel that this new world is establishing itself. And so far, Beerus and Whis are not intervening, which feels pretty good. Moro himself is a pretty solid villain. Simple, despicable, yeah, less is more. And we also see Stretchy Arms again, which is always a treat. We cannot wait to get into more manga-related topics in our future videos here, and we hope that you liked our short summary of the Galactic Prisoner arc. But what do you guys think? Do you feel like you're all clued up by now? Are you going to be checking in on the manga if you haven't already? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going, and I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!